Welcome to Born Broke with Mikehofferth, and today we have a very special guest, Saucy Djariri. Take it away.
What's up, Saucy? Like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everybody before we get started. This is probably going to be one of the most, if not the most inspirational podcasts we do. And this is a dear friend, pretty much a family member who has a story you're probably going to want to watch over and over and over again. Resilience, positivity, inspiration, the will to fight. Saucy, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Mike, for having me. It's a pleasure. It's great to be here. Super excited about giving back and spreading a lot of positivity and good energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Saucy's here today. You know, usually I roll it back so we can figure out where he's from and a little bit about him, but I think we're going to jump in. Saucy, from what I remember and what I know, you spent a lot of years in real estate. Am I correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
25 years.
25 years in real estate. And what were you doing in real estate?
I was doing pretty much, I've done some loans in the past, as well as selling residential, commercial, and working for a direct lender, and then moved on to working with some hard money lenders.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, hard money is kind of a little bit out of the box, but people that need financing and started liquidating properties for people that basically gave out bad loans, and they would give them to me to sell for the highest bidder, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't even know to that degree.
Yeah.
But since we're about finance and financial literacy, that fits right in.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I'm going to cut to it. I mean, Saucy's here today. Saucy, he has a really unique story. He had a heart transplant. And, I don't know about where or when, but you're going to tell us probably when this happened.
Absolutely.
And, he has a brilliant journey in this heart transplant because virtually, correct me if I'm wrong, you basically were dead.
Yes, Mike. I was, this happened about 3.5 years ago. Just came out of nowhere. My father had a heart issue that I really didn't know about, and it was hereditary, and it's a real strong form of your muscle, your heart muscle just basically burns out.
So this is hereditary. This is something, okay.
Correct. I lost my grandma to this. At 62, my dad was 70, and I'd learned the news at 48.
48, wow,
Yeah.
young.
Very young.
Yeah.
And when you get that news, I mean, you're not really ready for it. But watching my dad go through the challenges that he had, I wasn't surprised when I got the news. But from me to go maybe 3 or 4 steps at the time, COVID was happening.
Sure.
So I didn't really know what was going on.
That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, is this something that's really abrupt and you kind of just one day it turns on you? Or is this something that you can gradually feel coming on?
Well, they told me that I probably had started this problem probably 20 years or so before.
Okay.
And I didn't know. I wasn't someone that went to the doctors a lot, even though my father was a pediatric doctor. So
it's something that was building over time. You just didn't notice it.
Right, correct.
Right.
Because I was continuing to work out, eat right, I thought, and then I found out later that I had diabetes, and that was a catalyst too.
Oh, okay. So you found that out later. Now, when this came about, how did you recognize this and decide like you were having an issue and you needed to go get checked out? Because if you were somebody that didn't go to the doctor regularly,
Right,
it all of a sudden, like, it had to be pretty bad for you to go, I better go.
honestly, Mike, I was so sick that I couldn't walk maybe 2 to 3 steps before I was like winded, and I've never felt anything quite like that. So I was very fortunate to be able to even get to a place to get help.
So is your heart just not pumping?
Yeah, basically, when someone has a injection and fraction ratio is the term the medical field uses, under 40%, you're in bad shape. And when I got to the hospital, USC was where I went to urgent care, and they told me I was really sick. They couldn't handle my case.
Right.
They said I was too sick to be there, and they were going to try to find me either USC or UCLA,
Okay.
a bed there.
And then you ended up in a bed in USC.
USC was the first one that had said that they would take me on.
Okay.
And then from there, I was in Ventura Hospital, and I have to shout out to the people at Ventura Hospital that, took care of me for the 4 or 5 days.
So the journey first, just so I'm following along,
Mhm.
right? So you couldn't walk a couple steps. You ended up going to urgent care. Urgent care couldn't treat you because it was too bad. You were too sick. Then they were going to get you a bed at either UCLA or USC,
Mhm.
and you ended up going to Ventura.
Well, to go back a little bit, I went to go see my mother who lives in Arizona.
Mhm.
So I drove there, and then when I got there to see her, I could barely get around. So I mustered up enough energy to see her. I was there for a few short days,
Mhm.
and then I drove back. And on my way back, driving back to California, I pulled over, and I was in the middle of the desert. It was beautiful. Sunset was coming down and looking at me, but I was not knowing I was about to meet my maker.
Oh, really?
So
At that time,
at
you
that
felt
point,
it coming on,
it was pretty intense.
and then you ended up in Ventura.
So I went back home, packed a few things, and I said, all right, I'm ready to go into the hospital.
Gotcha. And then how did you get from Ventura to USC?
I got transported
Oh, you did.
in a very small ambulance, no air condition.
Oh my gosh.
And at that time, it was pretty hot. I remember
And this is all during COVID.
all during COVID, yes, in April,
Wow.
or actually, yeah, like end of March
Wow.
of 2021.
And so at this point, did you know you were 4%? You said 4%, 5%,
5%.
5%. Did you know you were 5%?
No.
So this is too early on.
Yeah.
40% is bad,
40% is your
and you're at 5,
5. It's
and you're walking around.
barely, but yeah. And
And driving cars.
yeah,
if you could call it that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
it
But
was crazy.
40%, 40%, you're pretty much gone.
Yeah.
5%. Wow.
And the only reason I know this, they told me that, but when I was like, you're very observant when when I got to USC,
Okay.
and doctors would come in, and I'm still awake, and most people in that intensive care unit are not awake, and I figured that out later
Got it.
when I was able to walk around a little bit with a walker, and I'd look in the other rooms and see somebody not doing well, and they're just not coherent.
Gotcha. So tell me, how long into it until you realized, did you think you were just going for a doctor visit and you'd be out? Did you
Correct.
think you're, because when I go to the doctor, I hope that I'm out same day.
No, I thought
I
I
think
was
most
going to
people
be
do.
a couple of days.
Yeah.
But from what my friends were telling me, and my sister and my brother
Yeah.
were told,
Yeah.
that I wasn't going home for a while.
And what's a while? How long were you there?
I was at USC a little under 3 months, but that was
Okay.
everything.
That was everything from tip to tail.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you had a full heart transplant.
full heart
They
transplant.
took your heart out, put a different heart in, the whole thing.
Correct.
How did that go? How did you, because I don't think hearts are probably that, available.
No,
So,
I got moved up to the top of the list because I was so sick. And,
really?
Yeah, and I was young.
Well, I remember when we had a small conversation prior to this.
Correct.
Right. I think something that I found really interesting was the fight you had in you.
Yes.
Now, I don't remember everything, so you'll have to kind of elaborate.
Mhm.
But I remember you telling me that at a certain point, you had to become a salesman
Correct.
because you had to sell yourself on why you should be a recipient of this heart.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also doing so, I've known you for a long time and you're a giver.
Mhm.
And you were buying lunches and pizzas or stuff for the people on your hospital floor, were you not?
Yes, correct.
At 5%?
At 5%, I mean,
See, that
that's
is
unheard
big.
of.
That's
a,
unheard of.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
It's like greasing the doorman. Like,
Yeah.
hook me up with some
Well,
better medicine.
My thing is while I'm there is I want to make sure that first of all, my father and mother were both in the medical industry, so I know how much they go through.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they are not respected by the patients, and not treated well, you know what I mean? And for me to get through this, they were the vehicle. Like I had to make sure that they cared about me enough to, like, if something happened and I was gone, that they would affect them and they want to give me the best care. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I want to make sure that I take care of everybody here, thank them. I got everybody pizza, and they were nice enough.
I remember pizza.
Yeah, I gave them pizza from this place down in the Westwoods, close to the hospital.
Good pizza or
It was
like Domino's?
No, it was
Okay.
legit. I made sure, I'm like, dude, price is no option. Make sure they
Yeah.
I asked the nurse to what's the best place around here? Let's get some pizza
Awesome.
over here. Not knowing that they were going to give me a slice.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I wanted one. Let's be honest.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I was on food, water restrictions.
Yeah.
There was everything that you could possibly be restricted. I was on.
I can
Because
imagine.
my heart was that bad.
I can imagine. So from the time you were admitted into the hospital for this until the time you received the heart, do you remember how many days that was?
It was 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. You were on 5%.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
But to obviously they don't know how long it's going to take to get a match, and then there's a lot involved.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot I didn't see.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I mean, like round tables and a lot of discussions.
Of course.
To see if I was willing to do what it took to recover from having the heart transplant. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that. I've been in sales for a long time, but I honestly think my best sales job
Yeah.
was during this process when I was very ill, to be able to let them know that I was worthy of it, I deserved it, and I was going to do what it took to
Change the world.
I think the pizza probably helped, right?
pizza was part of it.
I mean, what I know of you is what you told me, is that when you had to sell yourself on it, you basically begged and pleaded and told them, if you give me this heart, I will exceed anything that you think I'll ever be able to do.
Wow.
That's what brought you here today.
Correct.
Because you want to share your story and let
Absolutely.
people know that anything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with anything is possible, what I'd like to hear from you
Mm-hmm.
is, how did you mentally cope through the entire process? How did you get yourself? How did you stay positive? How did you keep yourself positive? How did you persevere?
Oh, there's a lot goes into that. At first when I got into the hospital, I was so worried, and I told you about, I need to pay my bills. I put some money aside. What did I do with it? What's the password? There was things that
Normal life.
normal life that I was so ill, I didn't really know how to answer these questions. But I was trying to make sure that my sister or somebody would at least take care of these things for me, and figure out. I put some cash aside, and luckily, I had that to get me going, and at least pay some of these things. But they told me, you know, without telling me, that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
in the hospital.
At this point, yeah, that stuff is
You're like, don't
not a
worry about
priority.
that stuff.
You're trying to be a responsible human being, and they're like, "You're good.
Yeah,
Just
like, stop worrying about that stuff.
focus on your health."
Yeah.
And in their minds, they were like, we don't know if he's gonna make it. They were probably thinking, and they don't want to tell you that as a
Yeah.
patient. They don't want you to give that doubt.
Did you do any? Do you remember? Did you do any meditating? Did you do any breathing? Did you do where were you mentally? Like, where were you mentally when you were laying there?
I shook my head a lot like this, and I just couldn't believe what happened to me.
Mm.
I was just like, I can't believe this is happening to me.
Yeah.
But anytime that I got any setbacks or bad news while I was in the hospital, I would only let it affect me for one day. And then really my goal every morning was to be positive, to fight. USC's motto is fight on. I took that to heart, literally.
Yeah.
And never take any doubt, or anyone that had any, like, because, the medical field at times can be, they look at it sometimes at the most negative situation.
Sure.
And I was always had that mentality as a young kid that I'll always prove anyone wrong. Don't ever doubt me. And if you do, that's really helping me.
How's your driver?
That's my thing, and
Yeah.
just being able to turn that around and just put it in my back pocket and continue to move forward, I think is a really good lesson that people that are dealing with a lot right now.
And that's what this show is. Our audience, not only is it a financial base, but it's also motivational. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. We really want to aspire to help people in all aspects of life, even
Right.
though our core is financial literacy,
Mhm.
which then lends itself to other things in business and life and stuff like that. So, you to say, USC fight on,
Mhm.
and you had that in the back of your mind. I mean, that's what success is about, fighting on.
Mhm.
And like, I really love the fact that you said, when I receive bad news, I only let it be for one day,
That's it.
and then I move forward. I
That's
didn't
it.
look back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't look back. You looked forward. I think a lot of times people don't realize that's the way. The way to succeed, or the way in life, is forward.
Right.
Don't worry about your past. Your past is
Yeah.
your past. You're not going to change it. All you can do is move forward to be better.
Mhm.
Now, tell us, heart transplant. I don't think you're the only heart transplant recipient I know of,
Mhm.
that I've ever known of. So do they, open heart surgery, they have to open you up. I mean, they're basically taking your heart out and putting a new one in, right?
Correct.
It's a complete swap.
And they don't know how it's really going to go until the last. I mean, they they measure to make sure that the diameter and everything is
Wow.
it's going to work.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they to the last second when basically a helicopter landed on top of USC, and they told me that we think we found a match.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And then, shortly after that, I'm wheeling into a room. I mean, like a doctor's, my friend Ruse, my best friend, was pushing me into the room.
Wow.
I'm still awake.
Yeah.
I had a team of people.
Was this the room you talked about before, that was just a metal room with saws?
Yeah, like I'm very nervous, obviously. I don't know I'm still trying to internalize all the news that I got.
Sure.
And now I'm like going into a room that you may or may not come out of.
Right.
And then when those doors open, it's like stainless steel room, very sanitized. There's some pretty archaic tools on the wall, like
Yeah.
saws, and
Ooh.
Man,
knowing those saws are
that alone mentally would get me all kind of flustered.
it was
I'd be all
intense.
Yeah.
I'd be all shook.
But I was like, let's go. Like I had, I had all these people around me. I'm like, let's do this. I was more brave than I even knew.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But you've always been that way. I've known you a long time, and that's how you are. I took you on a little tour of the studio, and you saw where we have our gym, and you said, "Let's go, let's go, let's do it."
I love it.
That's what I love. But I mean, I even, look, I'm going to come back to some of this, but cutting quickly, because people tune out quick in this media,
Yeah.
medium. I am fascinated with your story.
Mm.
And I know you want to share your story, and you want to get your story out more and more. And we'll definitely have you back
Got it.
when we do this again, I'm sure. But not only were you a heart transplant recipient,
Mm.
and they told you probably wouldn't see, and you probably wouldn't walk, and you probably wouldn't do so many things.
Mm.
You've ran 3 marathons this year.
Correct. 2 10Ks. And actually, the year before, I did a 10K and a 5K.
So that's 5.
Yeah, so I've done
You did
5.
3 this year, 2 last year.
Yeah.
Since the surgery.
Since after transplant, post transplant.
What's the doc say about that?
They said, keep going. And, they love me. I go over there and I don't need,
It probably blows their mind.
it blows their
I'm
mind.
sure.
I hope,
I think it probably blows their mind. And you're still training for more, right?
Absolutely.
You're not stopping. You're
No.
just starting.
No, I'm starting. I want to do one more, either 5 or 10K before the end of this year. But next year in April, the great race in Agora is going to be hopefully a 15K. And then from there, hopefully half. And
Ironman?
I'm hoping. It's very difficult, but if anyone
Dude,
can
the
do
animal.
it, it's me,
There you go.
We need to get him some
Did you hear what he
sponsors.
just said? If anyone can do it, it's me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right there. That's what I like. That's what I want people to hear. I want
Absolutely.
people to hear. I kind of skipped up to that because that is so fascinating to me. That is so fascinating because I've never run a marathon at all. you know, I don't foresee myself running one, but maybe, who knows?
He's more of a jumper.
I played basketball like my whole life.
That's what he does.
He's always been active. Always
But I was never like a runner or a jogger or walker. But now I really learned to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, and I don't think you can really enjoy something like that till it's taken from you. I mean, sitting in a hospital bed for 3 months, it's very difficult. I mean, I was at 144 pounds. I lost everything, my muscle. I basically died.
Wow.
To come back.
Wow.
Well, now that I've just gotten really comfortable with long distance.
So how has life changed for you when you wake up in the morning? What's it like? Is it different than it was before? Do you worry about the same things?
No.
Do even the same things get to you?
I don't worry about anything any longer. Nothing gets to me.
No?
I'm in such a great place.
Good for you.
It's I don't even know where it comes from, but I'm at peace. I'm at peace knowing that most people wouldn't have gone through that. I'm still here. I'm thriving. I'm real excited about the future. And I want to show others that, you can do a lot more than you think you can do. You got to get in that mindset. But once you do it and you hang on to things that you think you can't do, you become bulletproof in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that kind of the way you live life now?
Absolutely.
Like you're just bulletproof. You're just like, for lack of better, Superman. They just bing bing fly off you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I can't.
I mean, you've done so many things since it. You've done a remodel.
Yeah.
You've done a remodel. Yeah, I'd imagine, what was rehab like? You had to do rehab, right? You had to
Yeah.
do some rehabilitation, because in the simplest surgeries you have rehabilitation. I mean, George was an athlete over here. He's had how many surgeries have you had?
Look, let's not talk about my surgeries. Let's talk about like the ultimate surgery that Saucy just went through. I mean, it's like I don't even want to talk about them because I'll sound like such a you know what. And it's like I'm good. I'm not going to talk about my surgeries.
Usually he won't stop talking.
No, if we're off air, I'll do my sympathy tour. But when we're on air and after you've told your story, I'll keep that to a minimum. But
yeah. So rehab, like, how was rehab? Like,
rehab was, I mean, so put it this way, they would come. I mean, you're just so happy to be able to go and get out of the room that you're in. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it was like the simplest thing. Like, people want to go out and have fun. My fun was just getting up and trying to get out of that bed.
yeah.
Like, that was my day. I would look forward to like whoever was rehabbing me.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
you hot?
there was a couple of really beautiful gals. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he had said before we started this how nice everybody was.
Everyone was super great.
Like,
that's awesome.
That's the thing. Like,
I have to shout out to the team at USC.
USC
Doing this for a lot of people that have given me a lot of love and a lot of care.
Give me
Anybody?
life.
Anybody you want to shout out?
Like,
Any doctors?
just all the doctors that were part of it. There was so many.
That's awesome.
I was just say, I can't imagine how big the team was.
The team was just
30.
So many people.
How many people?
I mean, there was just every time I woke up, I'd look around, there was coats everywhere, and it was hard to remember everyone's name.
And the shifts too is probably different shifts.
Change.
Yeah, he had talked about 8 hours, what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, my surgery was supposed to be 8 hours, but it was about 13 hours.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
I went in on a Monday, right? And it was supposed to be, 13 hours, and then I was in a coma for about 5 days. So I woke up on Friday, and they told me, "Congratulations, you have a new heart." And then, I heard some of the doctors talking about what day it was, Friday, and I was like, Friday. And I just remember Monday was when I was going into the room.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened those 5 days. So I guess after the procedure, you're like, basically, I was wide open, like my chest was wide open. And it took quite a bit of time for my body to start taking the heart. And in that time, there was a lot of back and forth with family members and not knowing if I was going to pull through.
Really?
So towards like Thursday, Friday, they got the news that looks like things are turning around for the better.
Right. Right.
And that's really when the journey started.
Yeah. Good
Well,
for you, man.
That's
Good.
that's so heavy.
Yeah.
I before I forget, when we were off air,
Mhm.
you had told me something that really inspired me, where the medication that you have to take for the anti-rejection, you you were doing, you say you basically do an exercise in your brain that you're, can you expand on that? Because I thought that for me,
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about that.
Right.
You know.
So basically, when you are an organ donor, the medicine that you're taking is basically tricking your body to not attack the organ that's transplanted. So my thought process was to eat correctly, work out as hard as I can, and keep that medicine at a low amount as long as I can. Because at some point it becomes less and less effective as your body adjusts to the medicine.
Mhm.
Um, so my whole thing is I'm going to make sure that I have a full day. I push it as hard as I can, but I get my rest and eat right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
I hope that's the key of longevity of
Yeah.
a post-transplant patient.
I would say, yeah.
I'm hoping.
Positivity.
Let's
And-
go.
and-
Let's go.
Let's
right
go.
there.
I learned that.
Let's
phrase.
go.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like what you also said off air was that your brain, you're telling your brain that this medication is good for you. It's working. Like constant, you can call it an affirmation or like a self-help
Correct.
Tony Robbins kind of guy. That's, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. And then when you told me that, I'm like, that's probably a huge part of why you're still here, is because you just seem like a scrapper to me, where you're not going down ever.
You know, when the walls are closing in, you got your back to the wall for some
Yeah.
reason. That's when I shine.
Yeah.
I wish I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I wish it could be just like a nice monotone straight life, but I don't know that.
How boring.
I can't be boring.
Yeah, don't be boring.
I'd never be boring.
Nah.
Yeah. Good call.
I don't know where that comes from.
That's ultimate positivity.
I
Yeah.
thrive.
Like basically pushing that brain to be like you're basically willing yourself.
You
lot.
healed.
Yeah.
Your brain healed your body. I really believe that. After talking to you and now, and just when you got here, I remember when you parked, I'm like, I didn't even know your name yet. I'm like, is that him? Like, you get out of your car and you just had this vibe, aura. Like,
He's all
you just,
fit.
yeah, you seem like this, your back was arched. You just seem different. And I'm like, okay, that's the guy. And you came in and we started talking, and I haven't stopped getting the chills.
I love it.
It just, when it rifles up to your spine, then goes to your ears, you're like, I just want it to stop for like 5 seconds, because we've done a lot of different interviews, and this is by far, like, this is my favorite.
And no,
It's
and
so inspiring.
and no lie, like I told
You know?
I told these guys when you were coming, I'm like, this is the craziest story you're ever gonna
Yeah.
like. This is probably the craziest story, like I introduced you, that we'll probably ever do on this show,
Yeah.
which is not crazy in any bad way, crazy good. It's so
Yeah.
good. So
Thank you.
you know,
guys. It's great to be here.
I know that you know what's the next chapter for you. Like, what are you looking forward to? What are you trying to do?
My next chapter is really to give back to anybody that's going to possibly go through this situation,
Mhm.
to educate, help them with stuff that's not told to them through the hospital, because there's only so much they can cover. And there's so much more to having family members kind of know what to expect.
Mm.
I mean, I it happened so fast and I was so sick that I bypassed a lot of it. Like a couple years later, 2 years later, they had a symposium they have every year, USC, for heart transplant patients. Some people are there to give information. I was there. A lot of this information would have helped me a lot, but I bypassed all of that.
Yeah.
I was just going back to give back and let them know that, if you continue to fight and work hard and
Mhm.
do the work, that it's basically what you put into it.
So you've already done it. You've already been at an event or something.
Yeah, I went to 2 of them.
Oh, 2 of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing this actively. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So are you available if somebody wanted to reach out to you? Like, can we put an email in?
Absolutely.
Something
I
like
would
that.
fully, that's what I thrive for now is just helping others and however I can, basically. So
TEDx for sure.
I mean, it'd be amazing.
We're lobbying for TEDx for you.
I would
For
love
sure.
it. I want to give back. I mean, that's really, and then when people internalize what I'm telling them, and then I'll see them later on and they've done a little change in their life. That's
Mhm.
really what I'm all about.
Yeah.
That's what gets me out of bed.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
It's like,
Not
Love
about
it.
me. It's not about,
Yeah, yeah.
so many people had a hand in me being here
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
it's not about me.
Yeah. There's not a selfish bone in your body.
And that was hard,
Yeah.
and that's probably one thing that was hard for me is being so ill that I had to accept people's love and care.
Mhm.
How did that feel?
It was tough.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that's ever wanted to do that. I like,
But how did you receive it?
I mean, I needed it. I loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was so thankful. I still remember everyone that's helped me, and my goal now is to give back to
Mhm.
everybody that was there for me and anyone that needs help.
Do you go to the hospitals or anything like that? Do you go back to USC?
I do go back to USC. They don't have because of COVID,
Mhm. Yeah.
that kind of, they're still in the process of getting a program up and running for that. But I'm always in their ear telling them, like, let's go. I'm ready.
I love the
I'm like, let's go.
Let's
I'm
go.
ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
Like, there's no time like today. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be seeing them, I see them every 6 months now, the doctors. But when I go there, I always like, get your lab coats on, and let's, whatever research information you need, you got it right here, and
Yeah.
keep that stuff handy because we're gonna take it to the moon. I'm not gonna stop until I do a lot more.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Do you have a gnarly scar?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
should I show it?
That's
You're
up to you.
Let's go.
It's up to you.
So basically, this is where the scar is from the surgery. I had some feeding tubes in here,
Mm-hmm.
so they were feeding me through that.
Sure.
And then there's some other stuff here that I had an Apollo,
right there.
Impala pump that they put in.
Okay.
Um,
What's that Apollo
The
pump?
Apollo pump is basically doing the pumping for you.
Okay.
So that was keeping me alive.
Like an artificial heart, maybe? Is that kind of?
It's just a pump. It's not.
Oh, it's just pumping.
It's just pumping and giving you, your life basically. I only had that short time because then I got the transplant.
Gotcha.
But
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
Ooh.
But it
So
healed up
happy.
nice. You can't really. It was pretty rough.
I'm going to ask a weird question.
Sure.
And pardon me for asking it. But throughout my life, on occasion, like I've had some friends that have had some gnarly, nothing like this, but had some other gnarly surgeries.
Mhm.
But they said they saw the light.
Mhm.
Did you see the light?
Yeah,
You did. So it's a thing.
but it was
Because I'm gonna believe you.
it was before I saw the light in the desert.
Oh, when you took the picture.
When I was driving home.
Oh, wow.
Wow, way before.
But then when I woke up, I saw the light and it was gnarly.
Really?
It was really blinding. It was, yeah, I don't know. And some of the things that I was thinking about while I don't know where I was as far as the process,
Mhm.
whether I was dead or recovering, but I just thought of being like a young kid, my mom and dad watching me run and the sun being out and everything was just beautiful. And then when I woke up,
Yeah.
I had followed by a lot of pain from the surgery.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. I guess one of the things that, if you would share with us, I'm gonna put you on the spot, so no rush. But because of what you've been through, and because of where you are, if you had to give somebody or a lot of somebody's watching this, what you think the one or two most important things in life are, regardless of anything, what would they be?
Wow.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. Don't take it for granted when you're with your loved ones and people you love to tell them how much you love them and just hug them.
Yeah.
You just never know if you're ever going to be able to do that again.
All right. That's a good answer.
I mean,
That's heavy.
I think I'm going to go home right now and do that.
Yeah.
it's such an amazing thing.
True.
And we sometimes get lost in the minutia of life
Yeah.
that we forget about being able to touch and hug and love somebody that you never know. Something could happen tonight. You know?
That's a great answer because you know what? That basically sums up life if you think about it. Like material things and money and everything, all that stuff is man-made.
None of
It's
it.
all made by humans, or through the years. But your answer is just raw.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about because we we had this like amazing conversation off air, right? The warm up before the podcast, and you had also said that everything other than death is just it's easy to fix. You can fix it, or if you don't fix it, you're still alive and you're good, and you'll and that I mean, like within 5 minutes, I already got like I just like to collect these nuggets from all these conversations, and I already had a bunch, and then when you'd mentioned you wanted to start your own foundation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, would you build like some type of not just for foundation for raising money and awareness, but like a protocol where somebody that had a similar situation that had to rush to go to the hospital and you're like, here you go, or something you could give to the family going passwords
for sure.
Give me a lot of love. Like
Yeah.
like something I know it sounds generic, but like just a bullet point list of the stuff that you didn't have that you were doing on the fly,
Right.
where someone out of the box going, Joe Smith is going to get a transplant. Here's the like, here it is. Download this PDF, and here's everything that your family will need. Or I don't know.
Right. I mean, I would love to be the person that gives them either financial support and
Mm-hmm.
and go to their bedside and give them a pep talk. And
Nice.
I mean, what more could I want, really? I'm
Mhm.
still here. I'm still healthy enough where I can go and do that.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more than be able to be like, here, this is what we raised for you.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some of the things that you're going to need to do.
Sure.
And tell their families as well, because we went in blind.
Mm-hmm.
It went from like zero to like, let's go.
Right.
There wasn't there's a lot of stuff that they do to prep you for that. And there's people that are waiting for a transplant for a long time. And I got to see that after the fact. And that's a whole different level that I didn't have to know. To be able to know that you need a transplant and it might take a long time. Honestly, I don't know. My mindset would have to be a lot different.
Right.
And I feel for those families and patients that are going through that.
Yeah. I mean,
That's like a whole different.
That's huge.
it happens every day.
Yeah.
People are experiencing this every day. We go about our lives, but this is a real thing. This happens. From from young age to older age. Like it's a real thing. So, is there anything else that you want to share with us that maybe we didn't touch on, or
Oh God. Hopefully I'll be back and we'll talk about this further, but there's so much. I have so much. It comes in waves.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back. We'll have you back. Part
three.
2, part 3. Yeah, we'll have you back. I think we're good now, unless you have any closing statements. I mean, the thing I'll close up with is, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Fight on.
Yeah, baby.
I love it.
I love it. Thanks for being here, Saucy. We really appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your time. We appreciate your story. We will have you back whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
And you know what? Just keep spreading the message.
I appreciate it. I will. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to meeting others and inspiring people to do better for themselves. And
good for you. Anything we can do for you or hook you up with, we'll do.
I appreciate you very much.
For sure.
You're like family to me. Thank you.
Same.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
No, I always get permission from Mike. So
hold on, I'll tell Saucy, but Saucy, I think he watches the show, so he's always the one more thing guy.
Yeah, well, it's usually a compliment, but all this stuff that you were talking about, doing a foundation or setting up some type of protocol or to help these people, but then like I glossed over the fact that you've gone through this, and if I'm somebody on that bed table, I'm the detail guy. If some Joe Smith comes up to me and says, "Hey, man, I'm sorry you're going through this," and the first thing I'm going to ask him is like, "Let me see your scar."
Right. Of course.
I want to know. And you are a credible person, and you've got this genuine personality, and then you kind of deliver. I've been right where you are.
Yeah.
And that will make that person have so much hope.
For sure.
And that's all I got to say.
No, I mean, there's something to say about going into a room with a lot of doctors, knowing that they haven't been down
Yeah.
the same road I have.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of the information. They've saved my life,
Mm-hmm.
but they haven't really walked in my shoes.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's from normal life to seeing the light to running marathons. Let's effing go, baby.
Let's go. Yeah.
Dude, I think like let's get saucy too, right? Like, I want my name to be Saucy. I mean, that's like the coolest name ever.
I mean,
And I also have to also give a lot of thanks to your sister who had a big part in the start of this
That's awesome.
Yeah.
by seeing that I was in a bad place health wise. And she told me, I won't be your friend if you don't go to the hospital.
Oh, I love it.
that's called tough love.
And it worked.
That's
Yeah.
tough love right there.
It worked
Yeah. Well, there
Thank
you go.
very much.
Oh, there you go. She'll appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
So I'll
Good.
give you the honors, dude.
Dude, I'm still you're not getting the chills in your shoulders. It just goes to my shoulders, my spine, this whole podcast.
Yeah, dude. Like I
That's
knew what
heavy.
we were in for though.
I
You guys are fresh.
Yeah.
You didn't really know. I
No,
knew
I
what you were in
just-
for.
I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't know you. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare to like. I'm glad I didn't because it's just so heavy. And anyway,
What
This
what
is-
did they? How did they stitch you back up? Did they staple you or what did they use?
Yeah.
You know?
There's staples and some glue.
Staples and glue.
Yeah.
Has your scar's not that bad.
No, it's
It-
not.
it-
It's
you-
been
yeah.
very fortunate.
The guy keloid, so yeah.
I got lucky. I mean, it was great work. I mean, obviously they did
Yeah.
great work, but I eat right. I'm a big proponent of like real olive oil.
Oh, okay.
That really changed my life.
Nice.
And taking my medicines, I take them every morning at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., no matter where I'm at.
You
an
have to,
alarm?
right?
I have to.
Do you have like a dual alarm, or you just
No.
do it? You just know to do it.
I know to do it. I get up and,
Is it 6 on the dot, or is it 6:01? Is it
well,
how strict?
for like years, it was really strict.
Yeah.
I slept in today, actually. Don't tell my doctors.
Yeah, let's move on.
I was
We'll
20
edit this
minutes
out.
late, but usually I'm right on time.
Yeah, we'll edit this out.
Well, again, thank you for coming, brother.
Yeah.
Really
Thank
enjoy
you
this.
for having me.
You know what you shared with us. I really enjoy it. You know, look forward to the future. Look forward to all these years of things we're gonna do.
Yeah.